Welcome back to our Open Tabs.
Yeah.
I'm Mara.
I'm Jess, who's a mess. And
a beautiful mess.
ooh, so
Glowing as always.
I forgot. Where do we go now? Hey.
I'm you. Yeah, I'm me. You're you.
Today we're talking about, what did you call the evil crustacean known as Elon Musty?
Elandria.
Yes, Elandria.
I'm not sure what Elon is short for, so that was just my guess.
Who knows? This is something I've noticed, and obviously beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You can't judge someone off what they look like. But why are all the super rich people ugly? I'm sorry, they just look droopy. Mark Zuckerberg, alien. Elon, crusty. Jeff Bezos, I think he also is an alien. Bill Gates, just dry, dusty man.
When you're ugly on the inside, sometimes it shows on the outside. And if you're a billionaire, you're ugly on the inside. I just don't know what else to tell you.
I think the only one covering it up well is Oprah.
Yeah. To be fair, she is glowing.
Yeah.
So
I hate to say, she looks great. Still terrible because she's a billionaire and has all that land on Maui and asking people to donate. But that's not what we're here to talk about today.
We could maybe in a future episode. Hopefully everybody enjoyed our little tabs in progress preview from last time. Because we were live, we actually got to see each other in person. It was so wonderful.
IRL.
Yeah.
Always tabs in progress. Now that Oprah. I have complicated feelings about Oprah.
Yeah,
we have a lot to say.
I think we could do a deep dive on her. And this finally we're getting to the episode I've been threatening for months at this point, it feels like. And I struggled to focus the scope because there's just a lot to get into. But if people like this episode, I'm thinking we could do a part 2. So today's I'm calling Elon Musk is dumb, parentheses, and has managed to permanently devalue 2 major brands in less than 2 years.
Ooh,
And maybe the follow-up could be Elon Musk is bad, parentheses, and it's scary how much power he has.
Yeah. This one's a little lighter.
Yeah, this one
at least.
We're going to get into a lot of business stuff. Hopefully I'm going to make it fun because I really like business. That's my undergrad. It was an accountant. So obviously I like the numbers. I'm into the nerdery of watching people do dumb things with money. If you couldn't tell from the Crypto Zoo episode. So I think this will be fun.
Yes.
You are a power Twitter/X user, Jess. So how are you feeling going into this conversation?
I would say my usage has been on the decline since this thing has ruined it. But man, Twitter was the spot. I've had a Twitter for, I don't even want to know how long. And only maybe 2015, I became a solid Twitter user. And there just became so many things I will always remember how it went down on Twitter. Black Twitter. Great subset of the platform. Just some really great days. The general reaction. I used to live tweet Game of Thrones on Sundays.
Oh,
so
yeah.
To say I'm upset is an understatement because wow.
Yeah, the 2 Twitter moments that come to my mind, and actually both of them were very tied to Black Twitter. One was live tweeting when Beyonce's Lemonade first dropped.
Oh, yeah.
And all of us collectively realizing it was about how Jay-Z cheated on her and just being like, what is happening? And then, do you remember when Paula Deen had her scandal?
Oh, yes!
And all of I forget what the hashtag was, but it was
I don't remember
basically
that.
her recipes. And it was Black Twitter basically coming up with racist named recipes. And it was highly amusing. And I, as a white woman, should not repeat them, but they were very funny.
I do remember Apology and Scandal. Just so many great moments there. Sports moments, pop culture, political.
World events.
There's just, yes, we were there together. And now, so yeah, it's been sad. I rarely get on there anymore because it just, the changes at first I didn't notice as much, but now the following and then the something different timelines, the way that ads are on the app is insane, that there's an ad under every freaking tweet. Yeah, the whole thing with paying to be verified, just clownery afoot, and I'm pissed.
Yeah. I mean, you summarized where we are very nicely. So I guess my job now is to talk about how we got here.
How did we get here?
So first of all, I want to shout out to CJ Trowbridge. Oh, I forget what their full username is, but AJ, both of them on TikTok, as well as Legal Eagle on YouTube, for helping me understand some of the things that were going on and how they relate to each other. So this is not unique insights to me. This is me trying to be a good summarizer of other people.
Yes.
Okay, so my overall problem statement here, and like a summary of why Elon is so screwed at this point, and why he is dumb. Also, people who try to say that he has an IQ of like 155, A, I don't believe it, but B, even if he does, you can be smart and still be dumb.
Yes, so many people that way.
Yeah. So he's dumb and he screwed himself and Twitter and Tesla. So basically the summary of the problem that he is in is that he took out massive loans to buy Twitter, and just to pay off like his interest and like incremental payments every year is $300 million a quarter.
Run that back.
$300 million a quarter to service the loans he has taken out to buy Twitter. And spoiler alert, he might be called the richest man in the world, but a lot of that is theoretical money. It is not actual like cash in his bank account. So he doesn't necessarily have $300 million a quarter times 4, which is what? 1.2 billion a year to be servicing these loans.
Where is the money coming from?
Well, we're going to get into that.
Wait, we're at the beginning and I am a jaw on the floor, because why did I just think he had the money to buy Twitter?
Because he has done a very good job of convincing people that he's like this business genius who's super rich. But I'm here to tell you, I don't really think of him as a rich man. I think of him as rich in the same way Donald Trump is rich.
How did they get away? Why wasn't I taught these grifting ways? Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, well, there's that. But even if you're this, there's a difference between rich people loans and not rich people loans.
Mm-hmm.
Like, rich people are rich because they have a lot of loans that nobody ever actually really makes them pay back. Insane. Because you know who is bothering me right now? The U.S. Department of Education. Yeah. Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae, all you people, go talk to Zuck or somebody. Get your money. But
can I get a retroactive PPP loan and then get it forgiven? I would like that.
Really, we should have done that with our BookTube channels.
Yeah.
But I guess we could
have
employed
business.
Someone. Yeah.
I employed Andrew and Nigel. They did not get paid.
Me, myself, and I, plus Marple and Hastings. Yeah. So he's actually, that's the other thing. I could do a whole thing on Elon Musk is kind of broke, but he's like fake rich. All of his fanboys right now are losing their mind, and I'm sure if they ever find this video, will like flood the comments explaining this, but
but he has, it's maybe not liquid.
Well, here's the beauty of having an accounting education versus a finance education. I deal with actual money, like
paper,
things that I can go buy things with, not theoretical money.
Yeah.
So finance is a lot about theoretical money. Me, myself, and I said that twice in like 1 minute. I don't know why. Accountant Mara only cares about actual, like, could I go today and buy something with the money in my bank account? Right. So
that's how I function.
Anyway. Okay, so let's talk about the deal. Because the deal was already shady, like, to start. So I know we enjoy Twitter, or we have historically enjoyed Twitter, but there have always been a lot of questions about Twitter's underlying business model and if it was intrinsically somewhat fraudulent. Because their revenue was always very large, theoretically, but like in your functional day-to-day life, how many times have you clicked on a Twitter ad?
If I did, it was by accident.
Yeah. So the ads are not actually that effective, and yet they were getting all this revenue from it. So there's always kind of a question about where was this revenue coming from. They had a lot of scandals that got leaked about data and data security, and if they were selling data without telling users. They were very bloated on staffing, which we'll come back to. Elon does not take a great approach to that, but they were very heavy or like overstaffed. So they had a lot of overhead. On Twitter Blue, they were supporting up to 10 minutes of video content for people. And video is like wicked expensive to host, which is why YouTube has never really had a lot of competitors. Like, they're never been good at introducing new features. So like, you know,
no, they aren't.
Yeah, Twitter in 2022 was not that different than Twitter in 2018. Like, they've never been good at rolling out new things. Like, so there was already some questions about the business model and like how real it was, especially when you add in all of the like fake users and bots into the equation. Like, the math was not totally adding up on Twitter, even before Elon got in the picture. So we should acknowledge that Twitter has always been a little shady in terms of like what its money situation was. Okay, but Twitter has many people who love it because they are trolls at heart, Elon being one of them. And he was always going on about how like Twitter should be, you know, this bastion of free speech and a public square. You'll find that he walks a lot of this back real quick once.
Yeah. Come in that public square, Elon. Come on out.
But he, you know, he's always been a power user of Twitter, and he eventually started expressing interest in joining it in some capacity. So in 2021 or 22, he accepted but then rejected an offer to join the board. And then he started talking to them about acquiring it in early 2022. So he started doing mass stock buys. Now, if you want to acquire more than a 5% share in a publicly traded company, you have to notify the SEC within 10 days of you hitting that 5%. But he did not tell anyone. So he got all the way up to 9% before people realized it. And the SEC ended up fining him like a bunch of money because you're not allowed to do that.
Wow. How do you... Is there just... I don't have stocks because I don't know about them. Maybe that's ignorant of me, but how do you acquire that much and nobody knows?
Well, it's hard to, which is how the SEC, I think, found out. But he just, anytime they were up for, he just did like mass stock buys, basically. Like, he just started buying whatever was available.
He said, 250, add to cart, buy it now.
Yeah. Basically, he just had like he had some peon somewhere of like, ooh, I've got 100 over here. So he just started buying it. And then he decides that he's just going to buy the company in total, like take it private. Okay. So at the time he bought Twitter, when he was talking about buying it, a lot of his public facing discourse was about how Twitter was worth less than what the public prices were, like that it was overvalued, that it could be worth a lot, but there were so many bots that it wasn't worth as much as they said, which is not a controversial take. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
What was odd was that he then offered them more per share than what he himself had publicly said it was worth.
Why would he do that?
That's a real good question, and I do not know. I don't think anyone does. There doesn't seem to be a particular logic or reason to that.
Of course.
So he offered them $54.20 a share, which comes to $44 billion.
For some reason, I was remembering it as 4 billion. Not like that's not a lot of money. 44 billion.
Okay. Yes. And I have an idea of where you got that 4 billion from, and we'll circle back to that.
Okay.
Okay, so they make the offer, or he makes that offer. There's a brief negotiation period and a brief due diligence period that Elon Musk basically waives. He basically waives his due diligence period.
What is that?
It's sort of like when you're dating for a merger. Side note, this was technically not a buyout. This was a merger because of his company, which was called X Holdings. So,
oh my god,
a little foreshadowing there.
I hate it so much.
So it was a merger. So when you're gonna do a merger, you have like a dating period where you're getting to know each other. Mm-hmm. So like I get to ask you for like your documents, you get to ask me for mine. We get to ask each other questions and like decide if this is a good match.
Yeah. And he just said, no thanks.
Yeah. So basically, instead of dating Twitter, he just proposed.
He said love is blind.
Exactly. This is the love is blind of mergers and acquisitions.
I bet I could have taken a class and I still wouldn't have gotten it. That was such a succinct, real world explanation. Wow.
Yes.
Kudos to you.
That was an amazing analogy. But yes, I love that. Love is blind. We're going to start telling people this. Is Nigel here?
I got a surprise.
Hi, baby.
Here, make sounds into the mic.
Oh gosh. He was like, F you, mom. So he waives the due diligence period. So they're engaged. Okay. So they have not officially married, but they're engaged. Mm-hmm. And he tries to basically break the engagement.
Yes, I remember this.
Because he says that there were more bots than they said. They said that it's about 5%. He thinks there's more. And that when he asked for information to verify that, they didn't give him enough. And so he tried to exercise his right to exit the agreement for $1 billion.
Wait, he would pay $1 billion to them?
To walk away. Yeah. So like, let's break our engagement, but you can keep the ring, maybe is kind of the vibe.
Whoa, that's a rock. That's a rock.
That would be cool. Yeah. So, and he also, he said some other things, but really it was the bot thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. However, there's this clause that the Twitter lawyers put into the agreement called a specific performance clause. And it stipulates that Twitter would be allowed to sue Musk if he did not execute the agreement once it was signed. And because they are registered in Delaware, which is very favorable to businesses, that's why there's so many corporations registered in Delaware.
Did not know that. Fun fact.
The Delaware Chancery Court is notoriously speedy on adjudicating these kinds of matters. So something like this could take like years in court, but our friends over at the Delaware Chancery Court are like, We are moving and grooving over here.
And so
no time. Yeah. So they saw that they got this done in like a couple of months, and the Delaware Chancery Court was like, yeah, no, you have to go through with this. You can't back out.
So if they sued him, what can they sue him for?
For failure to perform the action he said he was going to do, which was to buy them for that price.
Would the lawsuit be for the price of what he was supposed to?
It was less a suit to get money and more a suit to compel him to act.
Okay.
Gotcha. So like, you said you were going to do this, we're suing you to make you do it. So he lost that lawsuit, so he had to then buy Twitter. Okay. So how did he buy Twitter when he doesn't actually have this much cash?
Dying to know, please.
So he got a bunch of loans. Some of them from banks. So like, I know Fidelity was one. I want to say Goldman Sachs might have been another, like some banks. He also did private loans. So he got a private loan from Larry Ellison of Oracle for $7.1 billion.
Wait. What is Oracle? Who is Larry? How is he just giving out money like this?
Oh, Oracle is like one of the biggest software companies in the world. Think like Microsoft, Intel, or not Intel, that's hardware, but Microsoft, Apple.
Okay.
It's business software though, for the most part. So
a $7 billion loan.
Yeah.
No problem.
Just between friends. Yeah.
No worries.
So he got that loan. Also got a big old loan that is not clear to me the exact amount, but it's in the billions from the Saudi royal family.
Why? What? Did they go to school together or something? Childhood besties? Interesting.
You think about like, hey, a questionable government, why would they have an interest to have some kind of leverage over the owner of the world's biggest like public square communications type social media app?
I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Whoopsie.
Not at all. No clue.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, so there's that. And then a lot of what he was doing was selling Tesla stock. Okay, so this is how Tesla really comes into this story, because essentially by doing this with Twitter, Elon Musk has really devalued and jeopardized the future of Tesla. Because, okay, so first of all, he got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. So to pay some of what he owed Larry Ellison back, he lost a lawsuit that alleged that he had stolen $735 million from Tesla. So he had to repay that back to Tesla because he took it from them.
Wait, how do you steal from your own company?
That's what he said. He's like, what do you mean I stole? This is mine. And it's like, well, no, this is a public company. You can't just take it. Because the other thing he was doing in addition to that he had to promise to stop doing was that he kept selling off his Tesla stock, which was devaluing the stock. So he tried to take it from Tesla. When he couldn't do that enough, he was selling his Tesla stock, but that's devaluing it, and that he can't do that to the rest of the shareholders. Like, you're not allowed to really do that. So he had to stop. So like, where is he getting this money from? Like, all of his money is tied up in these non-liquid assets.
So has he paid back Larry or no?
That I'm not sure. He must have given Larry enough that Larry's not mad at him, because recently they announced this like car of the future robo truck thing for police forces. I don't know.
Oh,
but
God.
Yeah.
No.
It literally looks like something from Tron.
No.
Yeah. So Larry's not mad at him. He must have given him enough money back that he was okay with it. I don't know.
I'm sure Larry wasn't hurting.
If you've got they always say that if you loan money to a friend, you should just expect to never get it back.
Or
so
family.
He's like, yeah. So he's like, I gave him the $7 billion, whatever. If he never gets it back to me, it's fine.
Larry, I don't even need $100K.
Yeah, Larry is a real POS. That's a different story for a different day, though.
His stock, but making the stock go down, so he had to stop doing that. What is this? What is he just living off credit cards? Like,
yeah, I mean, but like rich people version. They're no better than us, Jess. Just because this is why we got to demystify the billionaire class. They are not that smart. They just have happened into a circumstance where they get like a fancier version of living off credit than what the rest of us have.
I hate it here. Yeah. I just want someone to pay my student loans and I'll be fine.
Yeah. The other thing that this raises with Tesla, because to be able to, so he had to put up a lot of his stock and a lot of his investment in Tesla to secure the loans. So like as collateral. This has raised a lot of questions though about Tesla's accounting in their books. So here's a couple of examples of why. So back in 2018 and 2019, he got told that if he didn't make massive strides in paying down the debt that Tesla had, it was going to go under. Somehow, he was able to pay that off out of nowhere. Coincidentally, he got then fined $40 million by the SEC for artificially driving Tesla's stock price up via Twitter while he was cashing out his stock options.
How do you make it go up?
Well, if you have a big enough platform, this kind of it's actually very similar to the pump and dumps that the crypto bros are doing. Like he's like basically a social media influencer. So he was like hyping Tesla up and he must have been saying things that weren't entirely true or somehow misrepresentations to artificially or like alluding to something coming that's going to be big and whatever to get people to buy Tesla stock so that the price would go up.
I really got to get a degree in scamming.
Yeah. It truly is the only way to get ahead these days. So like there was that. Tesla hasn't paid a lot of the taxes it was supposed to be paying. And the other thing, yeah, exactly. They're not paying their taxes, but we have to pay ours. The other thing is that this has raised some questions about like their actual audited statements and if what the big four accounting firms are doing. Because this is just another example of like, there's a lot of speculation that the big four accounting auditing firms are kind of asleep at the wheel and rubber stamping things that they're not supposed to be.
I would not be shocked.
Well, it's similar. I don't know if you've ever seen the Enron, The Smartest Guys in the Room, that documentary.
I just remember hearing about Enron when it happened.
Yeah, I highly recommend people watch it because I think it's a very salient story to what is happening now in the business world. In terms of the financial system that we have presupposes that there are enforcement happening of the rules. And there's a lot of evidence that that's not actually happening. Similar to, from an auditing perspective, similar to the Enron situation with Arthur Andersen. But then like the other analogy is that it was making me think of was when we had the housing bust and the Great Recession in 2008. One of the problems was that Standard & Poor's was just rubber stamping all of these bonds as AAA that were completely worthless. But like, if they did not give them a AAA rating, they would lose the business. So they just were sort of passing everything through. I'm not alleging that any one actor is doing that. But all of this just reminded me that, like, it's all a farce. It's all mirrors. Like, nobody is really enforcing things the way that they're supposed to be.
Of course not. How would they do that?
Yeah. I'm not going to get into the full thing that this also brought up on Tesla's actual product. But if you want to see something funny, Google a self-driving car trying to kill Elon Musk. Very funny. On a live stream.
Literally, those things. Tesla. Yeah, let's not. You continue.
Yeah. So let's just say that all of this has put more attention on the fact that Tesla has some problems too. Okay. So my next bullet is destroying Twitter and Tesla at the same time. So he gets Twitter. First thing he does is fire half of his employees before having to scramble to hire them back.
Yeah, I remember this.
So so I do want to acknowledge Twitter was widely recognized. Also, look at the cats.
Oh, they frolic.
Yeah. Twitter was widely viewed as being very overstaffed as a whole. Okay, so fair enough that you might come in and make some cuts. But he just did it indiscriminately. He did not retain enough people to properly run their security. Their privacy and security officers had to release a public statement about their concern for consumer data and for their vulnerability to hacking. Because there were literally not enough people to keep the platform safe left.
Yikes.
They couldn't execute like routine patches in their prod environment. I think I remember their prod environment like was referenced in an open code so people could just like get into their I can't remember the exact technicalities, but I remember at the time being horrified of like, oh, so basically you just have your code open where anybody can go, if they know how to, can go in here and like modify it. Great. Love that for you guys.
That seems really smart. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They had a lot of lawsuits coming out of these firings for discrimination, violation of employee contracts, employment laws, like all that. And then they also forgot to keep enough people to to execute this audit that the government was conducting of their ability to moderate content. So they already didn't have enough people to do that moderation that they were supposed to, and then they laid a lot of them off. So
where in the timeline is, I don't know if you were still on Twitter at that point, where they had posted a picture and it's like of these people at Twitter and it's like, these people are here and they're even staying the night to work.
I think I saw people talking about that on TikTok, and it's like, oh, so those are all of your Visa employees who literally can't leave because their visa depends on it.
Yep.
It was a very sad time to watch all these people try to figure out what the fuck was going on at their job. And then he just started like just all these policies issues. Okay. He claims Twitter needs to be politically neutral, and then he publicly endorses the Republican Party on the platform. He mocked the concept of verification, but then said anybody who was doing an impersonation account had to mark it as parody or else they would be suspended. That was a great day. I personally, you remember the George Bush one? That was an impersonation that says, I miss killing Iraqis.
Yeah. That day there was so many good ones. I was like, oh, this is wonderful.
That
like people amazing. Taking over notoriously terrible people and being like, I apologize.
Yeah, exactly. Like Harvey Weinstein, like, I apologizing for essaying all of those women. That was my bad.
Yeah.
And he like didn't understand. I think he still fundamentally doesn't understand why verification is important. So he kind of like mocks it. So he added the blue check mark to Twitter Blue, which he started immediately charging $8 a month for, not understanding that the whole point of verification is that you know who the person is, not that they have a blue check mark next to their name. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah. And now, anytime I see someone with one, I'm like, it like
Yeah.
turns me off from them. I'm like, oh, you paid for that?
I like judge them if they have it.
Yes. But he's dumb, so why would he understand that?
Yeah. He started suspending enemies or people he didn't like, aka a number of journalists who criticized or covered him. But don't worry, he did reinstate Donald Trump, so
yeah, free speech. Yeah.
Yeah. Very free. They banned linking to prohibited accounts, which included Facebook, Mastodon, Instagram, Linktree, and Truth Social. I thought that was very funny. They stopped allowing you to search tweets unless you were paying for an account. And okay, so as a result of all of that, advertisers start leaving the platform en masse.
Yeah.
And have never returned, nor will they, because you don't. Oh, do you remember? I just remembered. Do you remember that account that pretended to be Eli Lilly and announced that insulin was going to be $10 a vial? And then the real Eli Lilly, I think, had to do something.
I feel like, did he go to? It wasn't court or something. I feel like he ended up having to do something. I remember that though. I was like, true hero out here.
A W for the common man. But yeah, so like you don't want to be on a platform where anybody can impersonate you and like pretend to be your brand. Like, who wants to be there?
A terrible place.
And then they also started being evicted from a bunch of their office spaces because they weren't paying rent. And God, what else? Oh, then he just decided to take down a bunch of servers because he didn't know what they did. That caused a massive outage in December 2022. And then
what is this?
Yeah, basically. And then they also he like changed, I don't want to get too technical. He changed something on the back end that essentially kept tweets from properly loading on external pages. And it caused them to just constantly try to load, which took down the entire site. So they had to throttle viewing for all users. I don't know if this was like in June of this year. And you could view like 60 tweets a day or something.
Yeah. Oh my God. I was like, what is this? Because people were like, is it like if I stop and read the tweet? Is it if I scroll over the tweet? I click, like, how do you determine my 60?
Well, and they've never gotten rid of that concept entirely because they still are limiting the number of tweets you can view in a day. And you get, I think, like 8,000 if you have Twitter Blue and like 800 if you don't.
Well, I obviously haven't been on there because back in the day, I would have hit that.
Yeah. Well, especially if it's view, because like, exactly, you're just scrolling through.
Imagine you only had 800 TikToks. Because I mean, the amount I swipe past is probably
tragedy. Yeah. My watch history is embarrassing on a given day.
Yeah.
In terms of the volume.
And then if I had to check all the ones I'm sent, come on, that's 125 a day easy.
I mean, yeah. So, needless to say, people were leaving Twitter. Many people did not want to stay around for this. And then the X rebrand came.
Disgusting. What is this?
Which
I was looking for my little bird. I'm like, where's my Twitter? And then I was just like, that's not it. Just kept looking. It's like, what is here?
Okay. I don't even know where to start with this because this was when I was just like, truly. So when you talk about brand name recognition, Twitter/tweeting has to be in the top 100 recognizable brands in the world.
Even people who aren't really on the internet. My mother knows what Twitter is. She doesn't have one.
If you, at least if you're in America, if you know anything about politics, you have heard of Twitter / you know what a tweet is.
Yup.
And he just decides to completely destroy brand recognition for one of the most recognizable household name brands in the world.
Like, what did I say? I'm not going to say I tweeted. I X'd earlier today. Because like that verb is just not going to change. Wait.
Okay, we'll get there. Yes.
Oh God.
But this is the second time he's tried to do this. So he is obsessed with the name X. Okay. If you'll recall, when they merged, it was technically with X Holdings.
Mm-hmm.
He still has X.com. He acquired it in 2000 for $1 million. And it's because he was brought in as the CEO of X.com in 2000, right before it merged with Confinity / PayPal.
Oh,
okay.
I've never heard of X.com.
X.com was a CEO position that basically his dad bought for him.
Of course.
And when the merger happened, he was obsessed with getting rid of PayPal and rebranding to X. And in 2000, PayPal was already a household verb. Like, it was the only known way to do that kind of like person-to-person payments online.
Yep.
So saying you were going to PayPal someone already had brand name, like was already a verb.
Yeah.
Companies pay millions upon millions of dollars to have that happen. To have like, I'm going to TiVo it. I'm going to Google it. Hand me a Kleenex. Like this is, to have your brand synonymized with an overall product category is amazing. And he wanted to get rid of it and call it X.
What? Oh my God.
And this is ultimately why he got fired as the CEO of that, because he was so focused on it and was so obsessed with changing it from PayPal to X. And everybody was like, this is a terrible idea. We shouldn't do it. So they fired him and brought Peter Thiel in. Also, there's a side note here about how, like I said, his dad basically bought him that CEO position. And it was from the money from his dad's emerald mine. And he has this huge chip on his shoulder about it. He told people to prove that that was how he got his money, and he would give them 1 million Dogecoins. And his dad took the bet and said, that is what happened. And like told everybody that that's exactly how he got his money.
I love this.
Because his dad also publicly says that he is not proud of him because he is behind schedule for where he should be in his life.
Stop.
So X is all about daddy issues, basically.
That is amazing. I mean, his father's still terrible, but that's still amazing.
Yeah. But he's like, I think that this shows something about his character. He's still obsessed with X 23 years later. And it's because if he gets something in his mind that he thinks he's right about, nobody can persuade him otherwise. Like the whole reason why self-driving cars for Tesla doesn't work right now and they can't sell them is because he is convinced that you shouldn't have to use radar to do it, that they should be able to create a technology that works like a human eye. And all of his developers are like, that does not exist. We could do radar. Yeah, but he's convinced that that's how it should work. And so he will not listen to anybody who tells him otherwise.
That seems really smart. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's a super stable genius.
Smart guy.
Yeah. So all that to say, he decides that it's time to rebrand Twitter as X. And Jess, how would you describe the new look?
It's terrible. Okay, let me, it's terrible. One, it just looks like, I mean, it was made on basic Canva, not even Canva Pro. Okay. And the
basic texture. It didn't even pay for the upgrade.
None. You couldn't spring for that $12.99.
No.
It's just like, because here's the thing, everything else, it's still or excuse me, now it doesn't say it says repost or quote, so it doesn't say tweet now on there, which is dumb because everyone's going to say Twitter. I retweeted this. I tweeted this. It's never going to be, we X'd this. And just the X is stupid.
Yeah.
It's just crusty.
You're supposed to call them X's now instead of tweets.
He's so stupid.
He's been removing all bird-related language from the platform. He has removed all bird paraphernalia from the building. They've renamed every conference room to have an X in the name of it, like sexy or like words with X's in them. And the X is capitalized.
I hate everything.
And I said, my note here is, it's aesthetically ugly and it sounds like porn. Parentheses, big frosted tip energy, in my opinion.
Yeah. Spot on. Wow. Like, come on. If you give a bird a Twitter, the tweet, the bird,
it was cute.
I'm so sorry. The X is never going to be, you're not going to make X happen. This is not fetch.
No. And it sounds like porn. Literally, when they send you emails now, the emails say X parentheses formerly Twitter, because I think it was going to everybody's spam bots because they assumed it. I truly think they thought that spam thought it was porn. Right? Like X.com. Would you not assume that that is an adult website?
Yes. Wow. How dumb if you have to keep reminding people formerly known as, like, that's like Google being like, what, Alphabet, whatever.
Yeah.
But that homepage is still google.com.
Exactly.
I Googled this. I didn't alphabet nothing.
No, they understand. Like, we can change what we call it internally, but like the people want Google. We're giving them Google.
Yeah. Facebook ain't never gonna be Meta. Bye.
So on that note, actually, part of what is very funny about this is that this change was not properly planned in any way. So at X was not available on Twitter. By the way, they stole it from the guy who had it. They didn't even pay him for it. The logo is in a font called monotype and therefore cannot be trademarked. Twitter Japan couldn't even get its name legally because there's a boy band in Japan that already has X trademarked. And X was already trademarked by Mark Zuckerberg for any kind of social media. So they cannot get the trademark or like the copyright stuff at all. They also did not get the permits to take the old sign down in their buildings. So the police stopped them mid-removal. They then illegally put up a new X sign that was strobing all night. And the neighbors complained so much that they had to take it down after one weekend.
Oh, my sweet Lord. It just sounds like a bunch of frat bros trying to run a business.
He seems, well, we'll get there, but he seems not in touch with reality.
No, he's living on a planet that I wish he would just exit to.
Exit?
Tweet yourself into the atmosphere.
X yourself into the atmosphere. So, with all that being said, where does he stand now? Currently, according to Fidelity, which was one of the banks that he borrowed money from in this deal, I think it's been about 18 months since he bought it, he has already lost 66% of the value from when he bought it. Initially, he admitted that revenue was down 50% from when he bought it. But then he contradicted Fidelity and said, no, it's not 66%. It's 90%.
What?
So he admits that he thinks it is currently worth about $4 billion.
Oh my God. It's still a lot of fucking money, but Jesus. How do they value that? Like, how do you come up with the value? or that he's lost value?
So it's what he thinks he could sell it. Like if he took it to IPO today, how much analysts think people would be willing to buy stocks for. So like you can look at purely like its on paper assets, which is worth a certain amount, but like all of the advertising deals that he had going into this, like a lot of those have evaporated. The user base is way down because nobody wants to fucking be there, and much less what we're going to talk about of what's coming next. Like he's just destroyed the equity in the brand. Think about it, like if you bought a house and then the first thing you did was like take out all the floors.
Yeah.
And like
just knock down all
release
the walls.
A bunch of termites. I don't know. If you tried to resell it, you could not buy it for what you bought it for.
What an idiot.
Yeah. So he has destroyed this brand. Not only that, he has also destroyed Tesla's value. Not destroyed, but impacted Tesla's value. So both Bill Gates and Berkshire Hathaway currently have billions of dollars of short positions against Tesla, which means they're basically betting against Tesla and saying that it's overvalued. And currently, sorry, what?
Who are they betting? Like literally betting, or they're just like figuratively betting?
I feel like if you want to understand how shorting works, I highly recommend the movie The Big Short or the book The Big Short.
Okay.
I don't feel like I would do a great job of explaining that, but basically the way when you hear somebody has shorted something, what you need to think is they're betting against it.
Okay.
And Tesla is currently the most shorted stock on the stock market right now.
Ooh.
This is because their market cap is way too high. And basically your market cap is the total values of all the shares added up. So if there was 100 shares of something and they were each worth $1, the market cap would be $100.
Mm-hmm.
So basically revenue is up at Tesla, but profit is down because it costs 2 times as much to make the same amount of revenue as it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
And their profit margin is going down. So right now the market cap is roughly twice what Tesla is worth. Ooh. So it is like primed to take a free fall in the stock market. Basically.
Yes. Go down.
At one point, Tesla lost 2/3 of its value in its stock value. It has gained a lot of that back, but not total. So I think it was at like 400. At one point, it was down to like 100 or 150. Now I think it's at like 300. But like, it's a big loss. And people still think it's overvalued.
Lose more money.
Yeah. So he has devalued Twitter by 90%. And Tesla, some people estimate, is about to have like a free fall in its value.
This mug sounds broken in me. And yet.
Yep.
That's all I got is big sigh.
Rich people gonna rich people.
Good God.
So what's next? Well, hilariously, he's about to paywall the entire site. You have to pay to use Twitter.
Yeah. Oh, for what? To see what?
I would like to play.
Is also you said hilarious, and for some reason I thought you were about to say Hilaria Baldwin, and I was gonna have to correct you and be like, it's Hilaria.
Do not question if I know how to pronounce the name of Hilaria Baldwin.
I should have never doubted you. How dare I?
The true Spaniard, Hilaria Baldwin. We should do an episode on her at some point.
Oh, good grief.
I would like to play you this TikTok courtesy of Pearlmania 500. You just need to hear it. You don't need to see it.
I know exactly here. I see him in my head.
Love him. Okay. I feel like they sum this up very well. I'll point my mic over here.
Say it again. Say it to me again exactly the way you said it.
I said that it doesn't make sense because it was free when it worked, but now that it's broken, he wants us to pay money.
Yes, that's 100% correct. Elon Musk now wants to paywall the entirety of Twitter.
That thing that doesn't work anymore.
The thing that doesn't work that was free for 17 years.
When it worked.
When it worked. When the top reply to every big trending everything was, how is this website free? And the answer was?
Advertisers.
Yes, advertisers. Every single time. It was advertisers because they loved having their brands on there and having people be able to interact with their fucking brands.
You can't have brands on there anymore.
No, you can't, because he set up an $8 fucking paywall already to let Nazis be the top replies to fucking Wendy's and Sprite and whoever the fuck else exists out there.
Yeah, and then if they get a lot of engagement, they actually get paid.
Yes.
So the worse the fucking thing they say is, the more attraction it gets, the more money they make. So they're just saying the most vile shit possible.
Yes.
So why, if I own a company, would I put my company on Twitter when there could be Nazis saying things?
But on top of that too, what he's calling that payment is ad revenue sharing. So if you are an advertiser putting an advertisement on Twitter, and then Twitter is then directly paying Nazis for engagement, you are actually 2 degrees of Kevin Bacon paying Nazis.
Kevin Bacon did not do this.
No, Kevin Bacon did not do this.
Also from Philadelphia.
That made me think about, man, the brand back and forths, the brand subtweeting.
Oh, yeah.
Wendy's had some of the best Twitter moments. And
R.I.P.
gone. Wow. But truly, what you mean? You want me to pay for this raggedy ass?
When it does not work, like when it crashes constantly and I have to just talk to Nazis, like, no. I'm not going to pay for that.
I'm good. Wow.
So, yeah, so they're paywalling the entire site, which is going to make even more people leave. I think including both of us. I mean, I'm not paying for it, so.
Hell no. Does he have a timeline or when this is supposed to go into effect?
Pretty soon. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure if because it's been so poorly received, he's going to walk it back, which he's done before.
Mm-hmm.
But also his competitors are gearing up. So we've got Threads, Mastodon, Hive. I don't think that we have like a clear, like, this is, I think, I would argue for Tumblr to be the new Twitter, because Tumblr back in the day was a place to be.
I still have a Tumblr account. I don't get on it, but I was like, I don't know what Mastodon is, and then this, and then this. Let's just all go back to Tumblr.
Tumblr is great.
Oh, let's get back in our emo eras. Come on.
Yeah. So
yeah, I haven't joined Threads. I don't know what I was like. Mastodon isn't a dinosaur, or a tiger or something with horns.
Yep.
I've heard of like blue or something, or and then I get nervous about, I don't know. Are they going to get I don't know. So I've just been like, nowhere. I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, Threads is still pretty friendly right now, which is nice, but it does have the downside of being further in bed with the Zuck, which I don't love. So
yeah, we're trapped on all sides.
Yeah, but all that to say, at first when this was happening, everyone was like, where do we go? There's no competitors. I do think that there are some competitors who are gaining some traction. So I think a couple of them are going to emerge as, where people go from Twitter.
I really want to push the Tumblr agenda. Let me log back in.
Yeah. You know what? Single-handedly, we're going to bring Tumblr back.
Yes. I'm going to just start mentioning all my videos. I'll be like, okay, if you want to come follow me on Tumblr.
Yeah.
Or do I want to be anonymous? Ooh, do I want to be messy?
Well, I mean, it was the old way to be chronically online, but you couldn't dogpile on people as easily on Tumblr. So I think it was actually an improvement over Twitter.
Okay. We're going to do it. We're campaigning for Tumblr.
Okay.
It starts now.
Tumblr...
with us on Tumblr.
Exactly. let's see what else. Oh, he's got what do they call it when they bring in a woman CEO because things are going to shit?
The glass cliff.
The glass cliff, I think. Yeah. Linda Iaccarino, who
girl.
I think has some alt-right connections, but also all of the Twitter blue bros freaked out when Elon brought a woman in. So,
my God.
Yeah. So there's that. And then he just has a shit ton of legal issues. So let me just run through those real quick. He's currently suing the original lawyers for Twitter who helped close the deal because he says that it was a breach of fiduciary duty to approve their fees. Which to me just seems like sore loser shit, but
yeah.
Whatever.
I have faith in Delaware that they did it right.
Yeah.
And the lawyer company. So suck it, Elon.
I agree.
Waste some money on your lawyers.
Exactly. There's a bunch of music publishers who are suing him for $250 million. I'm not totally sure for what, but God bless them. I hope they win.
More, yes.
Congress is currently investigating him and may fine him for buying ads for Twitter or for his other companies on Twitter as a way to make up revenue. Love that.
Please. More fines. More suing.
California is suing him for violating the Warren Act with all those layoffs. So they may have settled that by now. I need to look that up.
Yeah.
He is currently threatening to sue the ADL, the Anti-Defamation League, which basically because I don't even want to get into the full thing. All that, it's very anti-Semitic. Maybe we'll just put that there. And it's because his platform is overrun with Nazis. and ADL said that. And so now he's going to sue them. So, yeah. Or he's threatening to sue them because, yeah. And then the last one I think is worth talking about because I think if we end up doing a part 2, this will be a good segue into it. The DOJ got him fined for $350,000. Not him, Twitter, I should say. They were fined $350,000 because of them not complying with a subpoena to turn over all of Trump's Twitter DM activity to the January 6th committee. So if we come back to this topic, I'll get into the full tea of it because it's pretty wild, but just know that Twitter lawyers have been spending time and effort and money trying to not have to turn over Trump's DMs about January 6th.
Well. My Lord. I knew the man was the worst. And this wasn't even the episode focused on how terrible he is. Like,
yeah, this is not even about how he's a terrible person, which he is, in my opinion. This is purely just about how he's stupid and has completely tanked 2 pretty successful companies in the space of less than 2 years.
Wow. I hope, like I said, because I remember when he was trying to backtrack out of the Twitter deal and then he had to take it. And I was like, you know what? I hope you go broke. I hope you go fucking broke and experience poverty. I know it won't happen, but I wish, when people are like, I wouldn't wish, I would. I do wish that on my worst enemies or people I think are terrible, like him.
I think any billionaire, I'm pretty okay with people wishing bad things on them.
Yeah.
Even if they seem like they might be nice day to day, which he doesn't, but some of them do.
Yeah.
I still don't wish good things for them because I think their existence as a billionaire is intrinsically immoral. So.
Indeed. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I hope the Tesla stock keeps going down. And yeah, let me go ahead and wrap it up on the Twitter streets. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
Because you paying for a social media app.
I couldn't be me.
Man, I used to love when people would be like, this app cannot be free. And now it won't.
It's not.
But it's not even that quality anymore where it was like. Ugh.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. People around him have been sounding a lot of concerns about his stability. He's apparently got a ketamine addiction, allegedly. He's very anti-trans despite having a trans daughter. He's talking a lot about being sad and isolated. He can't hold on to relationships. Like,
sounds like a you problem, bud.
Yeah. So he's bad, but also unstable. So we'll see what happens. But if people want to get into it next time, I've got a whole list of HR issues. We got eugenics. We've got Twitter handing over private info about people to Saudi death squads.
Oh, hold up. There's no question. There got to be a part 2.
Okay. We got
there got to be a part 2. Even if it's just me listening. I don't care.
Okay. Well, you guys let us know if you want to also hear the part 2 about how he's just a bad person, in my opinion, and it's very scary how much political and like oligarchical power that he has, because he is not as he's a very stable genius. Like
very smart, very business savvy.
Yeah. It's not good.
Well, I hope I don't have nightmares tonight with that little ugly face. And
just feel proud that you're not going to be somebody paying him money every month.
I can.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my long threatened Elon Musk deep dive about why he's so screwed with this Twitter deal.
Good grief.
Wish him the worst. Hope he goes totally broke.
Nothing but the worst. Everything you deserve.
Yeah.
Elandria.
Yeah. Wow. So Jess, what are we going to talk about next time? Does it have to do with child abuse?
Oh. It is. It's back. I'm so sorry. You had a break?
You got a break. We talked about some Nazis. now we're going to talk.
Yeah. Light content.
Yeah.
About counting the cost. Is that what it's called? I just keep wanting to call counting the cost. Jill Duggar's book. Jill Duggar Dillard. Jill Dillard. Dillard? What is this?
Duggar Dillard.
Jill Duggar
Dillard.
AKA, what did she keep saying in the book? She was called like Sweet
Jilly Muffin.
Sweet Jilly Muffin.
Sweet Jilly Muffin. Now, I did hear about that on TikTok. I have not read this book. Jess is going to give me a book report, and I'll supplement from other sources. I need to rewatch those before we film that. But they did mention Sweet Jilly Muffin, and I couldn't help but wonder, do you think Derek calls her that ever?
Oh my God, I hope not. Oh, no.
And if he does, do you think it's ever in the bedroom?
No.
Okay. I couldn't help but wonder.
Stop right there. Oh God. Oh Lord.
I'm sorry. That was out of pocket.
Traumatized. Indeed. Well, yeah, next time. I also need to refresh myself. I need to listen to the book again because I've listened pretty fast, but I need to write down some notes.
Yeah. So that's coming at you in a couple weeks.
Yeah. Well, this week we next time we come back, we'll have our Tumblr handles ready for
I'll also have a new haircut.
Yeah.
Like a scene kid, like
let me get my swoop bag.
I like dye my hair black.
Yes, I'm gonna beanie.
Flat iron it. Yeah.
Oh my God, that would be so funny.
I'll come with my own poetry about my feelings.
Oh, I have many. Let me get them together. But well, Mara, we know we can't find you on the X Twitter.
Nope.
Where can we find you?
You can find me on Google/YouTube, which is Books Like Whoa. You can find me on Amazon/Goodreads at Books Like Whoa. You can find me at what's TikTok's parent company?
I don't know. I don't know that one.
ByteDance, that's right. You can find me on ByteDance/TikTok at Books Like Whoa.
Well, same. All of those. The Google, Jess Owens. Goodreads, Jess Owens. I don't know. And then TikTok, Jess Owens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot Meta. Instagram is at Books Like Whoa.
Metagram. Said by Jess. Yes.
Yeah.
I love this reference, referring to them as their parent company.
Yeah.
Oh,
trying to lay bare the infiltration of corporate greed in our lives. Just trying to be transparent.
Well, a few tabs closed, but I know you still have Elondria tabs open.
Okay, all of my money tabs are closed. My you're a bad person tabs will remain open.
Lord have mercy.
Bye.